The Politics podcast is brought to you, as always, by Patreon.com/JURY. Go ahead and support this show. You get not only this show for free, you get my One Mic show, the Jury Show, where we answer all your emails and have a great time and talk about general interest stuff and personal issues. Let me give you all a really you want to know what? I'm going to bring myself up on screen for this, because I want y'all to see. I quit my job last year. Last year, this time, I quit my job for a month. I had decided to quit my job before I got my Christmas bonus, which was exceptionally stupid. And I was judging how well I was doing based on my One Mic Patreon, because this is what I was going to put the most work into. I was going to try to build this thing that I could control totally, and I can have a connection with you guys. We are now we are at 500 patrons. 500 patrons. That is insane. That's crazy to me. I can't even imagine you guys being so supportive. So thank you. Before and after anything else, I love you guys so much for supporting this show, and specifically Politics. It was a risk for me to do it. I'm very happy that I did. So thank you once again. And by The Contender at thecontender.us. Until this Saturday, you can still get the game for $17.76. You can also pre-order our 2017 mini expansions. That's only going to be on sale until the end of the year of 2016. You can still get the Hamilton mini expansion for free, as well as pre-buying all of our other 5 2017 mini expansions right now. $40. That means you save on shipping, and you get one of them for free. Go ahead and check it out, thecontender.us. But enough of talking about how we do the show. What do you say we just do the damn thing? Politics. Whoa! Welcome, everybody. This is the Politics show. My name is Justin Robert Young. Here's a show wherein we talk about politics, and man, do we have we got a lot to get to. I actually did a lot of prep for this show. Yeah, this is a weird thing, right? Because normally I don't do a lot of prep. I don't really look at things. I just hastily get emails and I throw random stuff. And normally, doing prep for this show isn't that big of a deal because it's politics. Everything's out there, especially in this modern era. We don't really need to dig deep to find out what's going on, right? That's not something that it tends to come into our Twitter feeds at a fairly breakneck pace. And we are going to talk a lot about social media today. In fact, that is a theme for this show. We've got talk about the social media feud between Obama and Trump and how it is objectively worse than the social media feud between Kim Kardashian and Taylor Swift. We've got Paul Ryan trying to make sure that nobody is doing it for the Vine in Congress, let alone Periscope or Meerkat. Then we're going to get into a story suggested by one of the OGs of our community, of our Diamond Club community. That is T2T2, who recommended some bonkers stuff that is going on in Korea right now. But first, I just want to ask, all right, during this here election, I referred to folks as either, people on the Trump train or hail dogs. And now, I mean, Trump won. So the Trump train still a-rolling. It apparently has no brakes. Hashtag MAGA, 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 MAGA. But I don't know what to call post-Hillary liberals. I need a name. I need a funny name. It used to be woof, 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 right? It used to be arf, arf, arf. What it used to be. Let's go ahead and hear. Let's hear what it used to be. Man, or is this going to make people sad? This might make people sad. Will it make people sad if we play the Hillary clips? Here we go. Hold on. Wait a minute. It used to be that. Used to be. So I just need, I need another thing. I need a liberal thing. So email me, theyoungamerican@gmail.com, theyoungamerican@gmail.com, and let me know. Let me know what the best I want. And I want to hear, by the way, I don't want to hear from the Trump folks. You got your nickname. This is not meant to be divisive. This is not meant to be mean. This is just meant to be fun so we can refer to each other as a colloquial unit, right? I want to know what y'all want to be called. This is us as a family coming up with fun together. But this heretofore unnamed group, I'm going to ask y'all a question. Libby Debbies. I don't know if anybody would willfully want to be called Libby Debbies. Maybe the leftovers, suggests Merman 1983. BioCow and the Diamonds suggested Hill Hedgehogs because they've all gone underground. Whatever they're called, who's ever called what, right? I want to ask y'all a question. So we're just going to forget that anybody was upset about obstructionist Congresses, right? Like that's just going to be something that we all forget. Because I know Republicans have been forgetting and dismissing this obstructionist Congress thing for 8 years. So it's really, I got a machine gun now, ho, 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 welcome to the party, pal, when it comes to the Democrats. Because it seems like, and this again is just me and my bubble, just me and my living in Oakland, got 3 birds, white people rich, liberal, Twitter bubble, right? That everybody's really jacked about not cooperating with the Trump government. People just seem super, super, super excited with like saying, no, we fight. We will fight until the death and never give Trump an inch. Now, they are not currently in a position to obstruct much because the Republicans control all 3 houses. History would say, much like history said that Donald Trump had more of a chance than people thought he did, because it is very, very hard statistically for the same party to win 3 terms, that this coming election, the off-year election rather, will be a massacre. A massacre! Nancy Pelosi will be walking in to say, Senor Benjamin, prepare the battlefield for massacre. That Democrats will do very, very well. That's just what history says. History says. Bacadile in the chat room says it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. Well, I guess that's what I just want for us all to understand. I'm not saying it's a good or bad thing, right? I'm not saying it's a good or bad thing. I'm just saying that let's all understand that this is going to happen. And it's going to be a thing that will continue to go. Obstructionism is here, right? Like, that's just going to be what it is. And like, I'm not judging it. All I'm saying is let's wrap our head around the fact that what was among the chief complaints about Obama's 2 terms in office was that the Republicans were being beyond the pale obstructionist. Up to and including Mitch McConnell's grand gamble when it came to Merrick Garland for the Supreme Court seat. That dude bet on black, and boy, howdy did it come up. He did really well. So then now that we understand that, let's just focus on something a little silly. Because one of my favorite quotes that Barack Obama gave us was the quote of the silly season. The silly season. He referred to the silly season as when little things in the news wind up getting blown up out of proportion. Now, I am personally a huge fan of the silly season. I love little news stories that blow up way too big. I revel in them. I waft their scent into my nose. It is the delight of my life that I get to watch these weird, callous lizard people smack their big bloated bellies against each other and act like it's the biggest thing in the world. It is my pleasure. And this is what separates this political podcast from anything else that you're going to listen to. Because literally, I will guarantee you, name them all off, every single one of them are all going to be like, oh, this is the denigration of our democracy. Oh, things weren't this bad ever. I love it. And you love it too. You know you love it. Stop it. Admit it. You love it. You love it. You love every bit of it. You love it when anybody says something kind of weird, and next thing you know, oh, you loved it this weekend when the GOP sent out the Christmas greeting, and it kind of sort of sounded, if you squinted really, really hard, it kind of sort of read like they were saying that Donald Trump was the newborn king and not Jesus Christ. You guys loved it. I love it. I love it. Let's all revel in it together. Let's stop denying our love for junk food and just shove it all in our mouths. Let's just make gigantic chipmunk cheese filled with empty calories, please. Anyway, so Barack Obama went on a podcast by David Axelrod. David Axelrod, of course, was key to the ascension of Barack Obama, both in 04 and 08. Sorry, 08 and 12. And they had a wide-ranging conversation, lasted about an hour. This is probably one of the few conversations that you're going to see where Barack Obama is going to be as candid as he is. But from this, Barack Obama was asked whether or not he felt that his message of hope and change was rejected by the American populace. He said the following: I'm confident in this vision because I'm confident that if I had run again and articulated it, I think I could have mobilized the majority of American people behind it. I know that in conversation that I've had with many people around the country, even some people who disagreed with me, they would say the vision, the direction that you point towards, the right one. In the wake of this election and Trump winning, a lot of people have suggested that somehow it really was a fantasy. What I would argue is that the cultural actually did shift, and the majority does buy into the notion that one America is tolerant and diverse and open and full of energy and dynamism. Hmm. 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 You know who, if I were somebody who would not be thrilled to hear that, just wouldn't, it would just kind of put a little squirt of piss in my Cheerios. Probably the person who lost the election, right? That would be somebody that if I were Hillary, I would be a little upset, just a little upset. It's like, well, you want to know what? If you were really into this thing, well, you were out there on the campaign trail, right? Huh? I would be a little. I would feel a little backdoored, a little Dutch door action, right? I would not be thrilled with the suggestion that I was not good enough at articulating your vision. Oh, I'm sorry. So before we get into Donald Trump's reaction, let's go ahead and delve into this idea. Would Barack Obama have won against Donald Trump? I mean, what do you guys think? Let me know. Because here's what I think. I think that Barack Obama was a far better politician than Hillary Clinton. I think that Hillary Clinton lost by a very, very thin margin. However, I don't think that Barack Obama ever ran against somebody as unpredictable as Donald Trump. I think that both John McCain and Mitt Romney followed a script that he was very, very capable of countering. Really, it comes down, to be honest, I think that the difference between whether or not Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton would have won is more about who was running their campaign than the candidates themselves. Because if Hillary Clinton had paid attention to Wisconsin and Michigan, she probably would have won anyway, right? So the question is, if David Axelrod was looking at the Clinton campaign and saying, well, they're screwing up. Why are they screwing up so bad? Because if he was, then yeah, no, I think he might have had a shot. And maybe just that little bit. I mean, but also, it's kind of so weird because it's like, okay, are we assuming that Barack Obama is running as he is constitutionally allowed? Like, at some point, we as a nation had decided that a president was able to run for more than 2 terms, or that he was running for his second term, that maybe 08 never happened, he ran in 12, and now he's running in 16? Or are we assuming that Barack Obama had ran through a constitutional amendment to allow himself to run again? I mean, that's Media King 909 says it's a moot point. Obama had 2 terms and the Constitution stopped him. I mean, like, listen, that's why I'm saying let's just explore this. Let's explore the room, right? But the question is, as Media King brings up in the chat room, is Obama trying to troll Trump? Oh, well, maybe it's not just Barack. Maybe it's also Michelle. Michelle gives an interview to Oprah and has the following quote. Now we're feeling what not having hope feels like. Hope is necessary, she said in her first direct response to the election result. In her interview with Oprah Winfrey, Mrs. Obama, said that the president needs to be somebody who can say to you in a time of crisis and turmoil, hey, it's going to be okay. Mrs. Obama and Mr. Trump's win was in stark contrast to the hope-filled agenda her husband was elected on. Your husband's administration, everything, the election was all about hope. Do you think that this administration has achieved that? She said, yes, I do, because we feel the difference now. So what did the Donald say? Let's get into what the Donald said, because we know he's got a lot to say, right? That he very rarely holds back on Twitter. But when the Michelle Obama quote came out, he did. He did hold back. He said that he believed that there was a loss of context. Said that, she probably didn't mean exactly what she said. And that everybody just needs to calm down and not take this out of proportion. Huh? I mean, that seems reasonable, right? I mean, that seems like trying to go. And by the way, what did not make it into the sensationalist silly season headline that I just read about Michelle Obama was in that exact same interview. She said that we are making our effort to make the transition between us and Donald Trump as smooth as possible. We are trying to give him support because we felt very stung that people did not give us support when we were coming into office. That is something that she stated on the record, didn't make headlines, she stated on the record. And ultimately, that does need to be looked at in context. So if she said, we want to support them, I'm going out of my way to support them, she said that before she said this other thing, then I give her the benefit of the doubt that she was speaking from the soul of our heretofore unnamed liberal cross-section of listeners, for which I have a tremendous window into the soul of, living in the Bay Area. That, yeah, listen, most people I talk to that are liberal folk, man, they do feel hopeless. They do feel like the world has gotten away from them. They do feel like there was progress about to be made, that they were 2 steps away from the promised land and had it yanked away from them for a candidate that was more divisive, more racist, and more misogynistic than any that had come down the pike. One that lost the general election by 2.8 million. How can you look at those numbers? How can you look at those figures and feel like you have hope? So I think that she was speaking from their perspective. I don't think that she was speaking from her own. I don't think that she was speaking from the grand swath of all Americans. Now, her husband, I think, was trying to get in Donald's kitchen. I think her husband, when you come out on social media, on a podcast, and you say, I would have beat your ass if I was allowed to run. If you say that, if you put it on the glass like that, well, you're going to get a response. And this is the response that he got from President-elect Donald Trump. President Obama campaigned hard and personally in the most important swing states and lost. The voters wanted to make America great again. He then went on to let everybody know that he's doing a good job. The U.S. Consumer Confidence Index for December surged nearly 4 points to 113.7, the highest level in more than 15 years. Thanks, Donald. He's thanking himself in the third person. And finally, doing my best to disregard the many inflammatory President O statements and roadblocks. Thought it was going to be a smooth transition. Not. I mean, dude's doing Wayne's World shtick. Dude is doing Wayne's World shtick. Thought this was going to be a smooth transition. Not. As if, Sphinxter says what? What am I going to do with a gun rack? I don't own a gun, let alone many guns that would necessitate an entire rack. If you're going to spew into this, I'm just going to keep doing Wayne's World lines until I forget about them. Coming up next, it's the Shitty Beatles. Are they any good? No, they suck. So it's not just a clever name. Here's what I'm going to say to Donald Trump and President Obama. Your second place. Name a more iconic duo than President Obama and Donald Trump. I'll tell you who. You ain't even got the best feud of the year. Kim Kardashian and Taylor Swift did it better. Explain to me the differences between the Kim Kardashian and Taylor Swift feud. Both of them erupted because of big media opportunities. Both of them continued via sneak disses on social media. And eventually somebody brought the receipts. If you are not familiar with the Kim Kardashian, and really it's the Kim and Kanye team versus Taylor Swift, allow me to walk you through it. On Kanye West's 2016 album, The Life of Pablo, there was a line on the song Famous wherein Kanye says, I feel like me and Taylor might still have sex. Why? I made that bitch famous. Taylor Swift reacted none too politely. Her brother was seen throwing away his Yeezuses on social media. She was very, very upset with it. To which Kim Kardashian laid in the cut. And eventually, in conjunction with an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, she released a Snapchat video of Kanye calling Taylor Swift to ask whether or not the line was okay. She brought the receipts. Taylor Swift just had the rest of her year crumble. She had to take the L. It was over. She had this whole fake relationship with Tom Hiddleston. Looked like she was probably going to release an album. All of a sudden, nothing. She just had to eat it. And unfortunately for the liberal contingent of my crowd, Obama's just kind of got to eat this. Because at the end of the day, this is kind of right. President Obama did go hard in all the states that Hillary lost. Well, specifically Ohio, Pennsylvania, and North Carolina. And Trump won. Bacadile says, I thought that feud was staged. Well, I'll tell you what, I hope they both were. Also, I don't think that the Kim Ye Taylor Swift feud was staged. I don't think that. Because normally when they stage things, they have something to sell. And they did not have anything to sell after that. So I will go on. If there's one bold prediction I will make on this show, it is that I do not believe that the Kim and Kanye versus Taylor Swift feud was faked. And if you believe that you have evidence to the contrary, then please go ahead and email me, theyoungamerican@gmail.com. I'm going to say that Donald Trump is the Kim Kardashian of this feud. I think that Obama's the Taylor Swift. And I think that those girls did it better. One more thing on the docket today, that is Paul Ryan. Paul Ryan, just the ugly duckling here in the Trump's America, because Trump fans hate him, liberals hate him. So I don't even know what he's doing, man. Probably sit-ups, because that dude is ripped. He has now introduced new rules to Congress. Ryan's Rules of Order says that live streaming is no longer allowed. This, of course, in response to the sit-in that happened, where despite the fact that the television cameras were cut off, they took to Facebook Live and Periscope, and I don't know if anybody meerkatted. Did anybody meerkat? Maybe they meerkatted. So Paul Ryan wants, so here we go. We'll go to the Politico story. Paul Ryan's new crackdown against protests on the House floor, a direct response to the Democrats' gun control sit-in last summer, is prompting questions from experts in both parties about its constitutionality. As part of a House rule package, members will vote to approve in early January. House GOP leaders want to empower the sergeant in arms to fine lawmakers up to $2,500 for shooting video or taking photo on the chamber floor. But experts say that Ryan's proposal may run afoul of Article 1 of the Constitution, which says each House may punish its members for disorderly behavior. For more than 200 years, it has been interpreted to mean that any contested sanctions against the lawmakers must be approved by the full House with a floor vote, attorneys steeped in congressional legal matters say. W. Scottus 1 says that Meerkat was used. While Periscope was the Democrat streaming app of choice on Wednesday, amid a broadcast blackout, the New Hampshire legislators are recording their broadcasts using Meerkat. Look at that. +1 to the Meerkat. Was it on VidBlaster? Asked BioCow and Diamond. I don't know. Maybe. I think this is dumb. I mean, like, how much better did it make anything? Like, I don't know. In general, I'm a fan of hearing as little from Congress as possible. General rule, regardless of party. But who cares? Whatever. It's fine. Let a meerkat have a party on the floor. Oh, geez. I want everybody to just take selfies and, oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Bacadile says, doesn't sound like Ryan wants to know how the sausage is made. Lunchman in the chat says, do it for the vine. Sure. I don't even know why he I mean, like, I don't know. Maybe this is just one of those things where he's going to come out in 2 days and be like, that's not what I meant. But it seems dumb to me. You want to know what? We're gonna go ahead and just keep moving along, because there is something that I do want to talk about more than Paul Ryan. That is something else that you will not get from other political podcasts, and that is a breakdown of South Korea's presidential scandal. I'm not going to lie to you. T2, one of the most hardcore old school members of our community, is the one who suggested this. I think he did it as a joke. So we are going to do our best to not joke about it. However, he was nice enough to also give us the Reddit breakdown, a repost of those who were unable to see this old thread before it got nuked for title reasons. Also, thanks to the random stranger for the gold. Here's a TLDR of what is happening in South Korea right now. I'm going to read as many of these bullet points as possible. Also, I want to ask everybody who is listening right now, have you been to Korean barbecue? And if not, do you know what it is? I don't know whether or not it's racist, but this also came up in the pre-show, and I was blown away that people did not have Korean barbecue prior to today and also didn't know what it is. Because yumma dum dum. If you ain't down with that, I got 2 words for ya: Korean barbecue. let's get into why this stuff is going down here. In 1974, a North Korean sympathizer tries to assassinate the dictator of South Korea, but misses and kills his wife instead. A preacher/cult leader, Chow Tae-min, contacts Park Geun-hye, the dictator's daughter, and says she can communicate to her mother. He gains unlimited influence over her and earns huge sums for access to the dictator's daughter and, in effect, the government. The dictator is assassinated successfully in 1979, and a military dictator takes over. The cult leader loses influence, but still has control over Park Geun-hye. In 1990, Park Geun-hye's sister writes the government, asking them to save her sister from Chow Tae-min, the cult leader. Chow Tae-min dies in 94, and his daughter, Chow Sun-sil, takes over, continuing to work with Park. Park Geun-hye runs for office and becomes an elected official in 98. 2007, she runs for president, but loses her party's nomination. At this point, the U.S. Embassy points out to the U.S. government about her history with the cult leader. In 2012, she runs again and wins the election. Choi Sun-sil is in charge of producing the inauguration ceremony. Her public behavior as president is erratic and rarely gives any press conferences. Her speeches are described as rambling with full of odd wording. Yes, but does she tweet? Fast forward to 2016, and there's a scandal about Chun Soy-sil's daughter getting into a prestigious Korean university in preferential treatment despite not getting the grades or attending classes. Choi Sun-sil and her daughter flee to Germany to get away from the scandal. The Korean cable TV network JTBC somehow gets its hand on an abandoned tablet in Choi Sun-sil's former office, which contains evidence that she was given confidential government files, including upcoming speeches and government papers, despite not being in public office. Park apologizes but says that she has not consulted with Choi since the early days in her presidency, although more evidence comes out from the files and witnesses that Choi had complete influence over Park, from rewriting speeches to choosing and making her clothes for official engagements, as she was doing right up until earlier this year. What do you think Donald Trump's name for Park would be? We continue. Oh, it gets better. Choi has strong-armed Korean conglomerates into donating money into their foundations, threatening them that their businesses would be harmed by the government if they don't, basically extortion. Choi apparently leads a select group of 8 advisors into a gigolo and K-pop video director who controls everything Park does, and shamanistic rituals regularly take place in government buildings. Protests have been raging for weeks about these revelations. Hundreds of thousands of South Koreans have been protesting and calling for her to quit. And as of 4:10 p.m. Seoul time, Prime Minister Hwang Koi-an has become the acting president of South Korea, as the vote is still to go through of South Korea's constitutional court, with a maximum of 180 days to decide impeachment. This is the greatest scandal of all time. I love this scandal with all of my heart. We will cover it on this show until it's not a thing anymore. T2T2 also points out that they bought a shit ton of Viagra. This is my favorite thing of all time. When is the last time that an American politician has been busted for being part of a cult? I mean, that's something that even in this coarsening era of discourse, we have yet to get to the elected official who's a member of a cult. W. Scottus 1 says, or buying Viagra. No, that's every politician. Every politician buys Viagra in bulk. Man, I am very excited. Very, 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 very excited. Can we actually... Oh, man. Now that... Wait a minute. Is Donald Trump still going to do that petition thing? Can we petition him to come up with a nickname for the lady in Korea? Can we do that? Is that a thing? Is that possible? Can we set up like one of those, like, what is it, petition.org or whatever? Can we do that to see whether change.org? Can we do a change.org thing just to get a nickname? especially before she leaves. Culty Park, right? Old Park Witchington. Like, I mean, we got to get the Trump nickname. We got to get the Trump nickname for her. What do you guys think it would be? Strike It Rich says they need the Viagra to screw their constituents. Oh, my God. You can go ahead and email this show, theyoungamerican@gmail.com. Again, theyoungamerican@gmail.com. Alex C. writes, I was glad to hear you lauding 2016 in your latest podcast, and I couldn't be happier for your success. It seems to be a rarity as everywhere I turn, people are talking about how horrible 2016 was, especially in podcasts and on my Facebook feed. I tend to be skeptical yet optimistic person, and I cannot believe how negative people have become after the results of the election. Sure, other bad things have happened this year, but 2016, life has been good. Economy's strong. People have jobs. We are by and large safe in our homes. Gas prices are low. Interest rates are low. The housing market has continued to rebound. And I've seen the effects of this personally this year. I got married and we honeymooned in paradise, and it was the icing on the cake for this wonderful year. I understand that this isn't everybody's America, but people I see complaining about a horrendous 2016 are frequently coming from a position of privilege and seem to lack perspectives on reality. In 2016, life has been pretty damn good for most people, and the things that weren't good, we have an opportunity to correct. Sure, there are plenty of legitimate questions around the Trump presidency, but now more than ever should be the time when people become involved in the political system. A loss of perspective is parity with why Hillary lost the election. And if people continue to sulk instead of working for real solutions to our nation's problem, then the election cycle has taught us nothing. I love all your shows, and I'm wishing you a successful 2017. Thank you. Ken writes, regarding the book of Revelation. So, okay, if you have not followed this show, then understand that we are knee deep in our obsession about the book of Revelation. We are continuing to try to understand globalism versus globalization, which we are admitting that we are ignorant about, and we are trying to become smarter. And part of what people have emailed us is about the book of Revelation and how some evangelical Christians, not all, just some, believe that this is more than just a random thing. That there are literal, that the idea of a one world government is predicted in Revelations, and it is the presage of the coming end of the world. Ken writes, regarding the book of Revelation, I think it's important to keep in mind that it's written in a literary genre, apocalyptic, that is no longer used or understood. A PhD theology professor once explained that the closest thing we have in our modern culture is a music video. It's poetry mixed with strong imagery from the past, mixed with a sort of psychedelic acid trip. A lot of the imagery in Revelation can be found on Roman coins and other symbols of the Roman government. One thing that I've learned from the perspective of a non-American is that American theologians, where the bulk of modern theology comes from these days, believe the book of Revelations is all about them. You hear a lot of America's losing its greatness. Surely these are the end times. To them, I would say, read your church history. Through most of Christendom, the USA never existed. The church has seen the fall of Christian Rome, the fall of Constantinople, the bubonic plague, Genghis Khan, Napoleon, World War I, World War II, just to name a few. You think maybe theologians in those days might have thought that those were the end times too. So no. A guy who studied theology for 6 years, I don't think Revelations has anything to do with the recent election. That might surprise you, the guy who frequently emails about male lactation studied theology for 6 years, but whatever. I'm a special snowflake. To this line, to theologians, most of it has existed without the USA. I hear Mormons raising their finger and saying, not so fast. Thank you for the email, though, Ken. One more about this. Chris Micha writes, most of the apocalyptic metaphors in the book of Revelation has direct correlation to actual events that were playing out at the time of its writing. Even the most popular metaphor, the mark of the beast, was a metaphor for the trade laws requiring one to worship the Roman gods and Caesar, legally signified by a stamp on the forehead or back of the hand, before one could engage in that day's trade within the empire. If one knows enough about the first century Western civilization, a majority of the metaphors in that book can be literally interpreted for the first century Roman Empire's legal and political standing, with a very few but notable exceptions. Incidentally, this is how the majority of the churches of Christ would interpret it as compared to Catholic, Baptist, Methodist. Also, I've been loving PX3, and I started on Election Day. Well, thank you very much, Chris. Keep these up. I want to hear your globalization emails, man. Your globalism emails. Any little interesting facet about it that you are interested in, write me. TheYoungAmerican@gmail.com. TheYoungAmerican@gmail.com. Davin writes. Davin here. Regular listener, sometimes caller. You want political weirdos? Well, we got one in Vancouver, British Columbia. This guy is named Daryl Zimmerman. Homeboy is a free jazz musician, Occupy activist, and a convicted felon who committed wire fraud in the Chicago Stock Exchange, quote, so hard that the Zimmerman rule was created and stands to this day. He's run for mayor here for the past 3 or 4 elections. He also has been known for derailing debates by waving an oversized stuffed cartoon lobster and a saxophone at the crowd and almost immediately forgetting what big point he wanted to make once the cameras turned to focus on him. Wacky politicians, dig it! Oh, man, go ahead and check out Daryl Zimmerman on Wikipedia. And if you have wacky politicians, we also love those. And finally, Jeff writes, I have just gotten through your return from London show where you brought my attention to Jennifer Murphy. Did you realize that at one point early in her song, she sings, Go Girl Will Save Them All? While sitting at work, I lost my poop laughing. I'm not sure if you know this, but Go Girl is a feminine urination funnel. Since Wisconsin is in the depths of a blistery cold winter, all I can think of is my female friend that has a Go Girl and uses it to write her name in the snow. Please send me a link to your other show where you discuss this amazeballs video. Have you ever thought about being a political advisor for a candidate since you realize the game is all about getting people into a booth to pull a lever for one person or another, that it is a game? Have you thought about a winning strategy for small races, city council, mayor, county supervisor? No. I mean, because then we would find out whether or not I really knew what the hell I was talking about. And, I don't know if I do. Maybe I don't. Probably don't. So, yeah. I have no plans to get into the race. By the way, you can email theyoungamerican@gmail.com. You can buy The Contender at thecontender.us. Music has been presented by Valesco and Tropkillers. And you can follow me at Justin R. Young everywhere. You can download archived episodes of this show at bonerwars.com. And if you are watching us live on twitch.tv, just go ahead and make sure that you follow twitch.tv/Justin R. Young for not only this, but all of my one mic shows. That is about it for the show today and for all of our shows in 2016. This is the last show that we have of the year. We're barely crapping out on Twitch. We barely got out. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are a fan of politics, let alone a fan of politics, well, ladies and gentlemen, let me let you know that this is the only show that covers all three. We will see you in 2017. Yes. Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.